If there is one thing I know to be true, it is that life is constantly changing and that we as humans are constantly evolving with it. And what the past 2 years of my life has taught me is exactly that. And it has been the most transformational 2 years of my life, all because I started to be known. About 2 years ago, like almost to the day, I posted my first video on YouTube for To Be Known. It was April 8th of 2024, and by the time that this is being posted, it is April 5th of 2026. Let me tell you, so much of my life has changed. I've moved to a new city. I've started my master's. I started my career, like truly, where I have my first salary job. I've seen To Be Known grow from 0 subscribers to over 1,000. It's been a slow growth, but it's been a very humbling journey where I just feel like I have so much purpose now in my life than I felt like I had when I first posted this podcast. I was so lost 2 years ago. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea where I wanted to go when it came to my career. I had a feeling of what I really wanted. However, I was scared to put myself out there. I was scared to take a risk. I was terrified of what it meant if I were to change my life, if I were to try something new. And what I have learned over the past 2 years is a lot. And I want to share with you today some of the things that I believe now that I don't think I truly knew when I first posted this podcast 2 years ago. These are some of the life lessons and realizations that I have had by committing myself to this personal development journey with you through To Be Known. Because by doing this every week, by talking about topics where it's about self-help, where it's about emotional regulation, where it is about how you can better yourself and better your life and become like the most fullest aligned version of you, it has helped me have that in my life as well. Because I feel like as this channel has grown, as I have grown, and has allowed me to really look within and see what is working in my life and what isn't working in my life. And that is what I want for you as my listener, as my viewer. I want you to be able to look within and to figure out what it is that you actually want out of life and where you need to go in order to get it, what you need to change, where you are feeling like you have a lack. And I don't know, that's all I want for you, is to live your best life. And this episode is going to be a little different because I just want to share from the heart with you about this journey that I've been on and how I see myself continually fulfilling my dreams, and also some of the things that I believe now that have shaped how I feel about my life and how I feel about this podcast and how I feel about myself. I think there's a lot to learn in life, and I feel like the past 2 years since starting this has taught me so much. And it's because of you. It's because of my audience. It's because of the fact that I keep wanting to do this for you. And I just want you to have a better life because of the time that I put into these episodes to give you a message that you probably need to hear. And then that inspires you so that you can go into your life and you can create the actionable change that works for you so that you feel inspired to create a better life for yourself, because you deserve that. And I have learned so much about myself because of this commitment I have to this podcast and honestly to you and myself. So now that I shared that with you, I just want to say thank you to the listeners who have tuned in every week, or maybe almost every week since I first started posting 2 years ago. And for the ones who have joined the journey along the way, I want to say thank you to you as well, because this is a journey. To be known is a journey. It's this idea of being seen, being heard, being loved, and being understood by ourselves and by others. To be known is a scary thing. And that is why I started this, because the idea of being known by people is kind of daunting. Like, it's a little scary to put myself out there, to put yourself out there, to be known by another human. And that is all I want for you. And that's all I want for myself, because it is an innate human desire that we all want to be known and to be loved by others. So let's get into some of the things that I believe now that I didn't know 2 years ago. Your life becomes infinitely better when you know your values and you put them above all else. When you understand what it is that drives you, when you understand what is actually important to you. Is it love, strength, growth, connection, creation, exploration? What are your values? Those are mine, so that's why I listed those off. But when you understand your values and you put your commitment to them above all else, you are going to live such a more fulfilling life than if you weren't to know them at all. When you live by a set of values, when you have words that you are able to connect with on the daily and see how your actions fulfill those values that you have, you feel so much more aligned. You feel like you have such a high moral compass and you feel like you have so much more purpose. From what I know about my values is that when I actually put pen to paper and figured out for myself what my values were, and I made sure that I started to dedicate myself every single day to make sure that I did one thing every day to live by those values, my life started to become so much more fulfilling because I saw the little things that I did every single day that engaged with my values. I saw that I was able to be so much more present with my life when I was seeing tangibly how I lived to a set of standards, to a set of values that made my life feel like it was on the right track. Because if you don't know your values, if you don't know, or if you are not aware of the things that you do on the day-to-day that allow you to live a life that is fulfilling to you, you're just going to feel lost. You're going to feel like you're just wondering what you're doing it all for. And I felt like that way for a very, very long time, that when I figured out my values and I made sure that I was living by them every single day, committing myself to one act every single day, I just felt like I was living such a more fulfilling life. Values are so important to us, and making sure that you understand what your values are, they're probably different than mine, but looking at your life and seeing the things that are important to you, writing them down and trying to see what it is that you can do each day to fulfill that value, to make you feel like you are living a life that is aligned with your highest version of yourself. There's nothing better than that, honestly. Your worth or identity should not be attached to your output because it will never lead to a fulfilling life. And this is a lesson in life that I had to learn, honestly, rather recently, and it hit me like a truck. Honestly, I've had to learn this lesson over and over and over again. I was always someone when I was younger who felt like I needed to have A's, A pluses all of the time. I felt like I needed to have good grades in order for my time and my efforts to be worth it, in order for me to be worth something. And as I've gotten older and I walked away from being in school, being in college, I had a little bit of an identity crisis. And I went into my career and my job and I was job hunting, I was job hopping. I did not know what I wanted to do. And I felt like my identity was so lost because it wasn't attached to any output, just being productive in a way that felt very aligned to me, which led me to creating To Be Known because I wanted to feel like I was doing something for my future that actually felt aligned. And a lot of my identity for a while there was really tied up with the success of To Be Known. And it has not popped off by any means. Like, I'm very proud of what I have done. I am proud of the fact that I have people who connect to my podcast that I help every single week. But by all means, I am not a famous YouTuber. I am not a famous podcaster. I have been at this for 2 years, and sometimes it feels like I'm just posting into the ether. And when I have attached my identity to the fact that my success metric of what success meant to me with To Be Known was not aligning, I don't know, I just felt like I was a little lost. I felt like this thing that I was putting so much time and attention into did not fulfill me in the way that I wanted to because I was attaching my worth to a metric. I was attaching my worth to an outcome that wasn't happening. And it made me have an identity crisis. It made me realize that you cannot attach your identity to your output. And it was a lesson that I have had to learn over and over and over again. Even in my job, in my career, I have a full-time job. I am a master's student. I host this podcast. I have a million things on my plate. We know this if you are a consistent listener. And it is still very difficult for me to detach from this idea that if I do not have a productive day, that it was a waste of a day. It was a waste of a day if I didn't get XYZ done, because I have a million things on my plate right now, and my worth still is tied to this concept of identity and output. And it is something that I have to remind myself every single day, that my worth is not attached to how productive I am. This is a lesson that I have to remind myself of every single day. But I have a much better grip on it now than I once did when I first started to be known. One of the hardest lessons for me to truly grasp and understand is this idea that confidence compounds. I always thought that confidence was something that was kind of sporadic. You either have it or you don't, and you have to earn it, whatever it meant. I just did not have a healthy relationship to confidence for the longest time. But what I have realized as I've gotten older, and especially recently in my life, is this idea that confidence compounds. When you do things on the daily, little things that add up over and over and over time, your confidence will go from 0 to 100. You just have to wait and be patient and to watch yourself grow and become a person that is confident. Because what we need to have for confidence is trust within ourselves. What we need to have is to show ourselves that we are worth it every single day. And over time, that trust within us builds, that respect within us builds, because confidence to me is really based on a deep trust and a deep respect and a deep understanding of our worth. And when we see that we are worth it every single day, that we trust our worth, that we respect ourselves, that is when we see our confidence compound. Now, I am not the most confident person in the world. However, I am much more confident than what I once was because of this idea. Confidence, in my opinion, is earned. It is not just something that you sporadically have one day. You wake up with confidence, and from that point on, you have it. Confidence comes, it ebbs and flows. It comes in waves where some days we are more confident and other days we are not. It depends on the situation too. There is so much context when it comes to confidence that when you realize that it compounds over time by building self-trust, by showing yourself that you are worth it, that you have the ability to be confident in your abilities, in yourself, and who you are, that is how you have more confidence that grows over time. It is something that you have to be so intentional about and dedicate your time and attention to. It is a mindset shift that once you put the bug in your brain that you want to have more confidence, you end up seeing that you have more confidence day in and day out because you dedicate yourself to it. And that is how confidence compounds in your life. And that is something that has honestly taken me so long to understand, because I had such a false sense of confidence for so long that I've had to rebuild it from the ground up of what this concept of confidence means to me. And since I did that rebuilding, since I made my own definition, I have seen how it has compounded over time to lead me to a much more confident place. One of my favorite lessons that I've had to learn is this idea that you need to do things scared and understand and trust that the ease will come. The more that you take risks and put yourself out there, the easier it becomes. When I first started this podcast, it was a risk for me in my life of how I perceived myself and how I thought other people would perceive me by posting this podcast, by trying to put myself out there and become a creator. Every single time I post on social media, I feel like it is me taking a micro risk and putting myself out there. When I have applied for my master's program, for jobs, and I've taken risks to get to where I am at, the ease has become easier and easier and better because I see that I am able to do anything I put my mind to. When I put myself in the uncomfortable, when I go out and I have a solo day by myself and I am trying to be as independent as possible, I see that it becomes easier and easier over time for me to go and put myself out there in uncomfortable situations, because that uncomfortability becomes comfortable to me. It is about leveling up your life and seeing that you can do the hard things. You can do the things that you once perceived to be risky, because it will become your normal. You just have to put yourself out there. And I think that is something that a lot of people don't realize we can get so comfortable and feel so safe in our lives that we forget, like, hey, it's a good thing for me to go out to a coffee shop by myself, bring a book, put on a cute outfit, and have some fun and do that for myself and not have to feel like I have to wait for a friend or my partner to go with me. I can go and do that myself. Maybe it's about putting yourself in a room where you are the quote dumbest or youngest person in there so that you can understand something more, so that you could put yourself in a better position to learn from other people. It is about going to book clubs alone for you to meet people. It is about trying to apply for the job that you think might be hard, but you think is fulfilling for you. It's about putting yourself in these positions where you have the ability to grow so much and understand that when you take more risks, when you put yourself in these quote harder positions, the easier life becomes. And I fully believe that to the T. I think that it is so easy for us to get so comfortable and feel so safe and secure in our little bubble, but you need to constantly be expanding. You need to see and try new things and do them scared so that you can feel like you have a fulfilling life, so that you can feel like you are actually expanding and trying new things. It is so, so, so vital for you to do that. It's kind of embarrassing how long it has taken me to realize that people pleasing and feeling the need to manage other people's emotions isn't actually coming from a place of kindness, but it's rather about fear and control. I always thought that it was very admirable for me to be a people pleaser. I thought that it was a badge of honor. And I'm not saying that being a kind, empathetic person and wanting the best for other people and wanting to help people is a bad thing. However, I'm not necessarily saying that it is a good thing either, because it comes from this place of control where you cannot handle people's emotions that are anything other than, like net positive. Whenever anyone's emotion is like negative, where you feel uncomfortable because their emotion is angry or frustrated or, sad, and you feel like you have to fix it, it's about control. It's the fact that you can't feel like other people are able to handle their emotions. You feel like you have to handle their emotions with them or for them. And that is about control. And it is about fear at the same time, because you might think that what you're doing is the best thing for yourself, for this other person. However, it really comes from a place of fear, because you might think that your position in the relationship or in the dynamic doesn't have any value unless you are making sure that this person is happy. I have spent so much time and so much stress and energy trying to manage people's emotions and being a people pleaser. And at the beginning of this podcast, I really had an understanding that I was a people pleaser and that this was something that I needed to figure out and to get better at. And now I feel like I'm so much better at it. I understand that people are frustrated and that they can be frustrated. I understand that people can be sad, and the best thing I could do for them is to let them be sad and to take care of me and to support them and be there through it. Like for this person, if they are having a down period of time, what the best thing for you to do is to take care of yourself first and to be there for them and be a listening ear if they need it. And it's taken me a very long time to understand that. The truth is, it sucks to disappoint people, but it sucks even more to disappoint yourself. I think we could get very lost in feeling like we need to put other people's needs first, because it's easier to avoid disappointing other people than it is to avoid disappointing ourselves. I think for a very long time, I disappointed myself and put other people's needs first instead of my own. And it has led me to disappointing myself. And I realized how much that really sucked, that it was a lot worse to disappoint myself than it was other people, because you cannot avoid disappointing people. That is not avoidable. However, disappointing yourself is. That is avoidable, because it's putting yourself first and making sure that your needs, your wants, your desires are being met before you try to take care of anyone else, before you put anyone else's values or needs or desires before your own. It's about filling up your cup first before anyone else. And that is a lesson that I have really learned over the past 2 years, is this idea that I do not want to disappoint myself. I'm okay disappointing other people, but the last person that I want to disappoint is myself, because you are the most important person that you have in your life. To disappoint yourself day in and day out in a minor way, in a major way, it feels like you are abandoning yourself so much. And that is something that I do not want to do at all anymore in my life. And that's something that I really, really, really had to learn because I was so used to disappointing myself and not used to letting other people down that I felt so lost and I felt like a shell of a human at some point in my life. I think kind of towards like the beginning of the podcast, I was really in that phase. And I have just learned to really let that go and to be okay with disappointing people and to make sure that I never, ever disappoint myself. It is a tough pill to swallow to understand that your self-respect, the level of it that you have, determines the quality of your relationships. This is something that I really had to learn in my 20s, that in my early 20s, I did not have a good level of self-respect. I had gone through some things that had really hurt me and really led me to not respecting myself because I was in a lot of pain. I was struggling with life and I was struggling with myself. And I did not know if self-respect was something that I was really ever going to feel. And that led to a lot of bad things happening. But over time, as I started to heal and as I started to have people in my life who really respected me and I really respected them, and I was able to build my self-respect up again, I realized how influential it was in determining the quality of my relationships with the people around me. Because when you are able to come from a place of self-respect, you are able to pour so much more into other people because you have security within yourself. You respect yourself, you trust yourself and your abilities, and you trust that you deserve good and that you will only accept good from others. When you don't come from a place of self-respect, you feel very permeable, and that is something that I really understand. You feel like you are just trying to grab onto anything. You're grabbing onto straws. You're trying to make a feast out of breadcrumbs. You are desperate in this phase of lacking self-respect. And I understand it. I've been there. However, when I look at my life now and I see that my level of self-respect is the highest it has ever been in my life, and I hope that it goes up from here, I see that the quality of the relationships that I have in my life right now is so much healthier and so much better than it's ever been before. And that is a lesson that I didn't expect to learn. It's something that I didn't know was possible for me because I was in pain for a very long time. And now that I'm in a place where I'm like gonna cry. It's been something that I really have loved, that I have learned and understood. And I really would love for you to understand if you are coming from a place where you don't have a lot of self-respect. It changes your life when you have it for yourself. And I know that it's changed mine. I needed to take a break after that one for a second, but moving on to a lesson that is a little bit lighter, what I have come to understand is that if you want a life that has passion in it, then you need to create the space for it to exist, either with your time or with your energy. You need to look at your life and evaluate the ways that you are not feeling passion in your life. Look at your habits. Look at the people that you are around. Look at what you do on the daily, on the weekly, on the monthly that drains your energy, that drains your time, and cut it off so that you can create time for passion, so that you can put yourself out there to see what it is that you want more of in your life. Because I know that we all have those little inklings in our brain of something that we want to try, something that we previously loved that we don't feel like we have the time for it anymore. You need to carve out the time and attention and energy for you to bring back your spark, for you to bring back a passion in your life. It is something that you have to be dedicated to. It is something that you have to create space for. Passion isn't just going to come sporadically like confidence. Confidence and passion are something that you create over time. It is something that compounds, and you have to create the space for it in your life in order for it to exist. On that note, and also kind of going back to one of the lessons I've already shared with you, but it's this idea that taking risks on your dreams will always lead you to a better place. If you have a dream of doing something with your life, going to a new place, trying a new job, moving to a new city, traveling, I don't know, just trying something new, and you have a dream to do it, when you take healthy risks to get yourself there, it will always lead you to a better place. Because sometimes we have a dream and we go down the path of living it and we realize that it's not something that we want for ourselves anymore. And then a new dream comes along and we take a risk and we go down that path and we try to see if that is for us. It will always lead you to a better place when you do take healthy risks on yourself to live out your dreams, to live out your passions, because it will never fail you to try something that you think will be better for you. The only thing that is going to hurt you is if you do not take healthy risks on your dreams, because you are going to look back and wish that you did it sooner. I wish that I started this podcast sooner, because when I was 10 years old, I had dreams of being a YouTuber with one of my best friends, Brooklyn. I thought we were going to have a little duo YouTube channel. And I had a dream to do that when I was 10. And when I was 13, I still think that I have a YouTube video out there of me doing a little outfit of the day. And I cannot delete it from YouTube. I tried, can't do it. Don't have the access to the email. However, it is up there. And I wish that instead of getting embarrassed, that I stuck out with that dream of mine when I was younger. However, I came back to it and I started to be known. And now I'm here 2 years into it, and I'm going to continue on this journey, and I'm going to continue down this path because it led me to such a better place. When I did start this podcast, it led me to applying for my master's program, to getting the job that I have, to being in this mindset, because I'm constantly thinking about topics to share with you that in turn help me develop in my own life. And I don't know, whenever you take a healthy risk on yourself, it's always going to lead you to a better place. The only thing that can hurt you is if you never do it. The next 2 lessons that I'm going to share with you, I have done episodes fairly recently on. The first of them being this idea that if you are in a slump, it just means that something in your life is misaligned and that you need to evaluate and try to see where the lack is coming from and figure out what you need to do next. Because anytime that I have had a slump, I feel like it is the end of the world and that I do not know if things are going to get better. That's how I used to be. However, now I understand that when I'm sliding into a slump, when my energy is becoming depleted, where I feel like I am just losing my focus on myself and losing my energy for my passion, losing my energy for my life, it's because something is wrong. And that I need to figure out what that wrong thing is and figure out what I need to do to fix it. Oftentimes, it looks like the fact that I need to take a weekend and actually do nothing. I cannot do one productive thing. I just need to be with the people that I love. Or it looks like the fact that I am not taking care of my physical body. And because I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not able to take care of anything else. When you don't have the basic necessities in your life, you are not able to go and make a good life for yourself, because you have to take care of yourself first at the basic physical level in order for your life to feel good. You have to make sure that things are aligned with you in order to feel like you have a life that is good for you. You need to muster up the energy to actually change whatever it is that's misaligned so that you can get back on track and align with your life again, because that is what's going to pull you out of a slump at the end of the day. And that is something that I've really had to learn time and time and time again, because when I slide into a slump, I got to pull myself out of it because I don't have the time. I don't have the time to go into a slump. So I've gotten really good at understanding what it means. The other lesson that I've learned that has been a episode recently is this idea of abundance and what it means, because abundance to me is a mindset. It is where you are able to see that good comes through you and to you. And you need to actively choose to think in this way in order for abundance to be seen and to be prevalent in your life. Abundance isn't just a state of being. It is a lens that you choose to view life and the world through. Abundance to me truly is a state of mind. It is not just something that you have or you don't. It is all about perception, because you can either think in abundance or you could think in scarcity. And when I've made the pivot to think from scarcity to abundance, I have seen my life become infinitely better. I have more joy. I have more gratitude. I don't know. I just feel like I have more. My life is more fulfilling because I see that it is abundant. I choose to see that good comes to me and through me, and that I am actively looking for it every single day, and that more good comes into my life because of that mentality, because I'm constantly looking for it, because I'm constantly trying to create it for myself. Now it's time for a more fun lesson of mine that I have on this list. And it is just the idea of putting on a cute outfit and going out into the world and taking yourself out on a solo date. There is something so powerful about it, because when I go and do this on the weekends or during the week, I feel like I am so happy. I feel so confident. I really feel like I'm putting my best foot forward when I do this for myself, because I have been trying to get ready every single day of the week. And I swear it has compounded my confidence. It has allowed me to create better days for myself because I put the time, the care, attention to get ready for myself. But pairing this getting ready with a solo date with myself and literally calling it a date where I'm taking myself out to go get ice cream, to go to a coffee shop, to go on a little shopping spree. It is so fun. I love it so much, and it makes me so happy in my life. There's so much power to be had with doing that I kind of forgot about for a really long time. Just COVID and like my personal feelings about getting ready. Like I just didn't really see the use for it every single day. However, when I've made the switch to getting ready every day and to going out on these little solo dates at least once a week, my life has just gotten so much better, and there's so much power in doing it. And so I don't know, I would recommend that one. One of my favorite lessons that I have learned over the past 2 years, but more specifically this past year, is from my dedication to my journaling habit, to my journaling routine, and making sure that I am journaling every single day. Because what I have seen happen by doing this is the fact that my life has gotten so much deeper. I have seen my patterns so much more clearly, and I feel like I am overall just so much of a more positive person because of this journaling habit that I have dedicated myself to. I really think that it just makes my life infinitely better. This routine, this practice, this ritual that I have with myself every single morning to check in, to see how I feel, to manifest, to create something new for myself, to check in with the things that I have done the day before and to plan for the day ahead. It makes me feel so much more connected to myself, so much more connected to my life. It helps me understand myself better, and over time has just made my life, again, infinitely better. I cannot recommend journaling every single day enough. And it's something that I have probably talked about a million times on the podcast, and I'm going to talk about a million times more because I truly, truly, truly believe in the power of journaling. The last lesson that I'm going to be sharing with you today is about to be known, because this podcast has made me have so many shifts in my mindset, so many deep internal realizations, and one of them being the fact that this channel is growing, and it's growing slowly. I once thought that it was kind of embarrassing that I've been at it for 2 years and I don't have an immense level of success from it. I have not made a single penny from my efforts. However, I am not embarrassed by that. I'm not disappointed by the fact that it is growing slowly. I honestly feel like it's a beautiful thing because I see how much I have grown and how much I have changed and how much more wealth I have in my life because of this podcast. I have connected with so many people because of it. I have realized so much of myself because of this podcast that just because I haven't monetized off of it, just because I don't have a million followers or a million fans at this point in time right now, doesn't mean that this hasn't brought me any success. My life feels so successful because of this dedication, because of the fact that I know that I help at least one person when they watch my podcast episode. And that's what drives me, because that's all I really wanted when I first started this podcast, was to help people. And somewhere along the way, I got super attached to metrics, and I've kind of come back to the fact that it's really just about helping people, and it's really just about dedicating my time and attention to something that I am passionate about and trying to make a difference in the world. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And so to watch it grow slowly, to watch it grow so much more meaningfully, I think has been something that's a very sweet lesson of mine, because it tells me a lot about patience, tells me a lot about worth. It tells me a lot about how good things take time. And the fact that I have made it to 2 years of To Be Known is incredible to me, because it would not be possible without the people in my life, without my support team, without my family and my friends, and of course, my editors, So Young and Nina. It would not be possible without my work, who believes in me, who wants me to keep going with my podcast, who celebrates me every single time that I achieve an accomplishment. It would not be possible without the people in my life who are off screen. It would not be possible without you, without my viewer, without my fans, whoever you are. It would not be possible without you too, because I do it for you at the end of the day. I do it for myself, but I really, really do it for you. I do it because I want to help you. And I am just so thankful, A, that you watched this video all the way until now, but also B, for the people who have joined this journey, for people who want to be known, for people who watch me and know me through my content, because I feel seen right now. I feel very seen in my life because of the people in my life and because of this podcast. And I don't know, it just brings me so much joy. And I want to be doing this for a very long time. And I have some exciting things and ideas on the horizon that hopefully before, To Be Known is 3 years old, are out or maybe coming out at that point in time. Because I don't know, I just have a lot of ideas and I'm really excited to share with you all of them and for you to be a part of the journey. And I hope that I'm a part of yours. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, I gotta do it like I do every single episode. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe. If you are watching on Spotify, please give this podcast a 5-star review. Follow on there as well. If you really want to follow along the To Be Known journey, check us out, or check me out, I guess, on Instagram and TikTok at To Be Known Pod. The links will always be in the show notes down below. And with all that being said, stay true to you. Bye.